I didn't file for divorce when I found out the truth, and that changed everything. My name is Natalie Hart. I was 34 years old when a stranger sat across from me in a small cafe in River North, Chicago, and told me not to file for divorce. It was early afternoon. The cafe smelled like burnt coffee and rain-soaked coats. Office workers murmured softly around us. Nothing about the moment looked dramatic, but something inside my chest tightened, like the air itself had shifted. The man introduced himself as Daniel Reed. His voice was calm, his posture careful, not nervous, not angry, just controlled. Then he said my husband's name, not like an accusation, like a fact. Your husband is seeing my wife.
I didn't gasp.
I didn't cry. Something colder settled in my stomach. Because suspicion hurts, but confirmation has weight. Daniel placed a thick envelope on the table between us. He didn't open it. He looked directly at me and said one sentence that still echoes in my head. If you move first, you lose. My hands were steady even though my heart was racing. I had imagined this moment 100 times. I thought I would scream, or confront, or collapse. Instead, I sat still. Daniel spoke quietly. Courts don't hear pain. They hear proof. If you act on emotion, you protect the people who lied to you. If you wait, you protect yourself. He told me he had already spoken to lawyers, already started documenting everything.
Dates, times,
Locations, patterns. And somewhere between his words and the low hum of the cafe, I realized something important. This wasn't a meeting about revenge. It was a warning. Before everything broke, I believed my life was simple. I had been married to Eric Whitaker for 7 years. He worked in operations for a logistics company, long hours, predictable routine. I worked remotely as a localization specialist, translating documents at our kitchen table while the radio played softly in the background. We weren't dramatic people. Our marriage was built on routines. Saturday grocery runs, takeout Fridays, movies on the couch where Eric always fell asleep before the ending. He wasn't romantic, but he was reliable. And I told myself that reliability was love. Looking back, I see how easily I confused quiet with loyalty. There were no fights.
no shouting.
Just a peaceful house. I didn't know then that a home can be silent, not because it's safe, but because someone has already started leaving emotionally. The changes didn't come suddenly. They came quietly. Eric started coming home later. 9 o'clock became 10. 10 became midnight. He said work was stressful. I believed him.
Then his phone changed.
It used to sit face up on the counter. Now it stayed face down, or in his pocket. A new scent appeared in our bathroom.
Cologne.
Eric had never worn cologne in 7 years. When I asked, he shrugged. Someone at work gave me a sample. New clothes, better haircuts, weekend gym sessions that left him energized, not tired. None of these things were wrong on their own. What unsettled me was the timing. If you've ever felt your house grow colder without a single argument, you understand. Nothing loud enough to confront, but everything wrong enough to hurt. At night, I lay awake listening to him breathe and wondered when exactly the shift happened. The moment everything changed happened on an ordinary weekday evening. I was having dinner with a friend near the Loop. Then I saw him.
Eric.
Across the street, sitting in a cafe. At first, I felt relief. Then I saw the woman across from him.
Dark hair.
Wine-colored coat. They leaned toward each other. And Eric smiled, a real smile. One I hadn't seen at home in months. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. Not dramatically,
Casually.
like it had happened many times before. My body froze. I didn't confront him. I didn't follow him. I went home. Eric came back after midnight and lied calmly. And that's when I understood something painful. A person can lie easily when the lie has become routine. That night, I made a decision. I would not react. Because once you see the truth, you don't get to unsee it. From the next morning, I lived a double life. On the outside, I was the same wife. On the inside, I was watching. I documented quietly.
Times.
Excuses. Patterns. I met with a divorce attorney. He told me something I didn't want to hear, but needed to. Suspicion is not evidence. Emotion works against you. Confrontation only teaches them how to hide better. So I waited, and it was the loneliest thing I have ever done. Then Daniel Reed appeared. He had proof, photos,
Dates.
locations, and confirmation that the woman I saw was his wife, Brooke Lancaster. He gave me everything. And then 3 days later, he asked me something unexpected.
Don't file yet.
He explained that if either of us moved first, the affair would disappear, evidence destroyed, stories rewritten. Waiting wasn't weakness. Waiting was strategy. He slid a black case across the table. Not a bribe, he said. Compensation for endurance. I agreed. Not for the money, but because I wanted to end this with dignity, not chaos. The next weeks required discipline. We shared facts. Only facts.
No emotion. No confrontation.
And the truth expanded. Trips overlapped. A secret condo appeared. They stopped hiding. Cohabitation changed everything. That's when we moved. Same morning. Same hour. Both cases filed. No warning. By the time Eric understood what was happening, the truth had nowhere left to hide. The court didn't care about tears. It cared about timestamps. And evidence doesn't argue. It simply exists. The marriage ended cleanly. Responsibility was clear. When Eric left the house for the last time, it wasn't loud. It was final. My home feels lighter now. I sleep through the night. I learned something important. Silence is not weakness when it's chosen. Waiting is not surrender when it's intentional. I didn't win because I waited. I won because I waited with purpose. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear that patience can be powerful. Would you confront immediately or collect proof first? For more stories about quiet strength, real consequences, and starting over with clarity,
Thanks for watching. See you in the next story.